All right, friends, welcome to video 2 from our CMIN 310 Christian Living course. And again, this is setting up this course for you to give you a little bit more direction as to the journey that is ahead of us. One of the things that I want to remind us as we prepare to teach this course this coming semester is that the experience of our students is varied. We will have students that cover the spectrum in terms of belief. Some are deeply committed and passionate Christians who are eager for their lives to bear out the purpose that God has intended for their lives to bear out. Some of them are eager to live as witnesses in this world. There are those who would consider themselves Christian who yet still are struggling to make sense of what they truly believe, not only apart from their family, but wondering if the Christian faith makes space and makes room for them in how they are navigating this world that they find themselves living in. And then there are those who, as you know, and if you've taught some of our Gen Ed classes, who have little to no interest in the Christian faith. Perhaps they at one point were, or they've been burned by it, or let's face it, some of them have had experiences even on this campus that has made it feel as though the Christian faith isn't all that compelling. So we need to assume that walking into our course. We need to be reminded that as we teach, we are teaching those whose experiences of the Christian faith are varied. So when we talk about living this Christian life in this postmodern, pluralistic, multicultural world, there's going to be some who are leaning forward, eager to ask the questions about what this might mean. And there's going to be ones who will sit in our class with their arms folded, wondering if anything we have to say is going to matter or mean anything. One of the unique opportunities we have in this class, because of the way that we're doing this class, is to help give voice to their doubts, to create the kind of safe environment. And that is something that I'm deeply committed to and passionate about in this course, to create the kind of safe environment where they can ask those questions that in many other places they didn't feel they could ask those questions. In fact, some of the assignments that you'll see as we explore the assignments are going to tease out some of those questions, are going to tease out some of the doubts that have shaped their resistance to giving voice to a belief or a trust or an allegiance to Jesus Christ. And so I want us to be reminded of that. So oftentimes in my course, when I'm teaching it, I will say, for those of us who are committed to Christ, and then I'll say, for those of us who are still trying to decide where we land, this is what this could look like. So we're really given an opportunity here to help Christians in our course explore what faithful witness means, and for those who are not Christians in our course, to help them hear a compelling story of what this Christian story is all about that might, at worst, leave them leaving our classes going, maybe this is something I need to explore a little bit more. So I'm excited to think about that. Now, for our Christian students, we're going to be navigating some material at times that creates a sense of defensiveness. Now, we ought not be surprised about that. That's the nature of the culture that we live in. It feels like we live in a culture where anytime we are met by anything that we don't already agree with, it is seen as a threat, and it puts us in this sort of defensive mode. We live, and we're going to talk about this as we enter into the actual course content. We live in echo chambers that are fueled by a desire for confirmation bias. And so as we begin to explore ideas and thoughts and concepts that cut against the grain of what they are typically used to or accustomed to or made to feel good by, then we should expect there's going to be moments where they bristle, where they become defensive. Now, one of the things that I say often, and I use this language over and over again as I teach this course, is that I want to encourage those that are confessional Christians to hold true to their commitment convictions, taking a journey through this material, learning how to empathize, learning to be generous and hospitable to the other, learning to allow the risk of engagement with the other to affect and change us, doesn't mean we have to abandon our commitments and convictions. But instead of holding them with closed fists, which is, I think, what we've been taught to in our culture, that we learn how to hold them with open palms, trusting the one who is holding us. And one of the things that I'll say to the students often is, if you ever notice that when you hold on to your commitments and convictions with closed fist, how easy it is to just simply swivel your hips and now we're ready for a fight. I said, this is a much more generous and hospitable posture. And what we want to invite our students is to develop a sense of true conviction about what they believe. But as they enter into what they believe, that they can hold that in open palms, trusting and recognizing that the God who is present in the Christian story is not easily threatened. He doesn't require us to always come to his defense, but that we can explore the possibilities of meaningful dialogue and conversation with the quote-unquote other in ways that will impact and transform us, even as we seek to bear witness to the grace of the one who can transform all. Those are some assumptions and commitments I make as I enter into this course, and I'm hoping that you and I can enter into and make that same commitment together, because I do believe it cultivates the kind of environment in the course where students are opened to the opportunity to explore and laugh and learn and feel at times a little unsettled, trying to figure out where to make their way. And one of the things I say to the students, especially in the class periods where we really push hard into something, I'll say to them, come back with the next class session because we're not done. It's okay to let students linger for a day, trying to work through what they believe, because we get to pull them back and we get to coach them and help them better understand how to make sense of that within a uniquely Christian worldview. Now, so over the course of these next few weeks, you're going to be getting a lot of stuff from me. And I'm going to build towards making this as accessible to you as possible, giving you as much time as possible for you to do the kind of work to set you up for a successful class. I'm going to share a folder. I'm going to send emails. I'll upload things for you. I'll attach them to emails so that you have the greatest amount of access to the information that is a part of this course. You're going to get sample syllabi that I've worked with in the past. I've not developed this next semester syllabi because I am still waiting for that modality. You're going to get the videos that I've used in the past. You're going to get the articles that I've used in the past. You're going to get the course content. You're going to get the notes. Now, a few things that I want to talk to you about in this video is all of what we're doing is going to culminate in a day-long training that we are going to set up for either at the end of July or the beginning of August, so that all of us are together in a room, and I'm going to walk us through this material and give an opportunity for questions to be asked. We want to be firm on the categories that we're going to lead these students through, and I will break those categories down in the next video. There's 6 moves throughout the course of this next semester, and we want to be firm on those moves. The content of those moves is something we want to hold to, because this is a course that I think is important for us to understand is Gen Ed, so there needs to be some semblance of resonance across all of the different class sections. But we also want to create enough flexibility for you as the professor to explore within that content areas that you feel more confident about. So one of the challenges for me is I'm developing a course that others are going to be teaching. You know how difficult that is, because we typically develop courses for the way we teach and the style of education we have had. We want to create enough flexibility for you to be able to explore some of the areas that you find interesting in the core content itself. Now, there will be some flexibility on articles, on the videos that you use, and even at times your delivery style. So some of you may find ways to break your students up into groups for discussion more often than others. Some of you may be more inclined to have one large group discussion versus small group discussions. That's going to be defined a lot by your pedagogy, and we want to give space for that. So we don't want to be restrictive in setting you up to feel like you're constantly rubbing up against something that doesn't fit you. But we want to make sure there is enough resonance across all of the sections that the students are getting a similar kind of education. Now, I've been asked by a lot of you, what about the books? So right now there's one book, and that book is Making All Things New by Henry Nouwen. And that's going to be our spiritual formation project. I will put a list, a bibliography together for you that you'll be able to look at that has informed my class. I'm also writing some stuff for you to read for the class. The fall semester will not have another book other than the Henry Nouwen book. I have found a book for spring semester that I'm excited to share with you, and I will share that via email with you. It's called King's Economy. It's all about vocation and students learning how to live out their professional life in the marketplace for the kingdom. I think it's just an extraordinary book that helps us to keep that kingdom in mind. And so I'm going to invite you to take a look at that book that we'll use for the spring. But there's going to be a lot of articles and a lot of videos that I will share. But there is no other book other than the Henry Nouwen book. Now, I want to remind you that this course is very much a work in progress. So in the fall semester, we shouldn't be surprised if we feel at times like, man, this isn't working. I want to remind you, I built this class through the lens of my education and the way I teach. I'm learning how to adapt that. So walk with me and work with me in that process. Don't assume that you can't come to me because it's quote unquote my baby. That's not how this works. I want you to know that my door is open, my ear is open, and if you feel like you've got a way to see something or do something different or better, please share that with me. I want to learn from you. The last thing I want to do is hold on to this so tightly that I strangle the energy out of it for you. I don't want to do that. So let's stay in conversation about this course and about how to make this the most meaningful and impactful journey for our students.